right.
Hi. Sorry to keep you.
That's all right. You ready to go to work?
Oh my God. I'm so ready to go to work.
This week, presidential candidate Joe Biden, oh, isn't that cute? He announced his running mate. Senator Kamala Harris will be his running mate. Will this be a big bump for Team Biden? Joining me to discuss is our panel, Democratic strategist Kelly Hyman, University of Maryland lecturer Dr. Jason Nichols, and Republican strategist Julio Rivera. Jason, that brought a tear to my eye. Oh, wasn't that cute how he messaged her on his laptop and she pretended that she didn't know the call was coming. What do you think of the pick, Jason?
I think it's a decent pick. It's the one that made sense. While I may agree with some other of the finalists more politically, I think that Kamala Harris was the best pick for Joe Biden. She's somebody who agrees with him on many issues. They've even had a dust-up, which I actually think is a strength for both of them. Shows that they can patch things up, that they can disagree, that they can go into the war room and speak and talk things
Jason,
out.
are you concerned about her record with African Americans, specifically the way she prosecuted certain crimes that people will say were biased against African Americans in California?
Actually, I'm not. I think that, it's been a long time since a lot of that has happened. I think she's evolved a lot. I think if we start pointing to what people have done many years ago, we can start going back many years with Donald Trump and talk about many of the things he's done. But we can talk about things with regard to criminal justice issues that Donald Trump is doing presently that I think trouble a lot of African Americans. So I think they're going to side largely with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Julio, what do you think of this pick?
I think it's ridiculous. First off, they should have went with somebody who is a true moderate. Kamala Harris, they're going to try to repackage her as this pragmatic moderate. But the fact of the matter is that she is an extreme leftist from California, a tax and spend politician. She's somebody, as it's been pointed out by many, has prosecuted more African Americans for nonviolent crimes than any other attorney general in California history. I think that that's going to play against her. I think her attacks on Joe Biden as recently as this past primary are going to play against the ticket as a whole. They should have went with somebody from the Midwest, from the Rust Belt, somebody that appeals to working class, blue collar Democrats in the middle of the country.
Kelly, let me ask you this. During, I guess in the lead up to this, Joe Biden was under some scrutiny from Tara Reade, who accused him of sexual harassment. Kamala Harris said she believes Joe Biden's accuser. How does this play out with women, the Me Too movement, even going forward?
I think that's an interesting question, but I think that they came together. I mean, it's interesting from a standpoint, if a man came out and said something, some of the comments that she made, that they say that, that he's being strong. But when a woman comes out and does that, it's against her. And it's some way, sexism. I mean, she ran for office and now she's the VP. I think she's going to do a great job. And I would disagree with a lot of stuff that, he said. I think Biden did a great pick. A majority.
But Kelly, can I just stay on this for a second? Either
Absolutely.
Tara Reade is to be believed and Biden harassed her sexually, or she's not. But Kamala Harris said she believes Tara Reade. So can you walk that back?
I think, that's ultimately what she decides on if she said that, made that statement. But, she did believe her. But, it's all politics. And we're distracting and talking about the issue when we should be talking about the true issue of what's going on in this country, how our unemployment rate is the worst it's been since the Great Depression. And we have over 150,000 people dead because of coronavirus on Trump's watch. Mm-hmm. That's 1,000 people a day. That's why Americans need change.
I want to ask my control room to play the diversity clip of Joe Biden, which kind of rocked a lot of people when they heard that go.
And by the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
Jason?
Well, again, it's kind of on brand for Joe Biden to use clunky language, but largely, and this may be unpopular with some of your viewers, but I largely agree with him. Number one, Latino communities are diverse racially. You know, you can be a black Latino, you can be a white Latino, you can be someone who doesn't really identify with either race. You can be an an Asian Latino. So I think they are diverse, more diverse racially.
Okay, what about the other half of the statement? What about the other half where he said, unlike the black community, is there no diversity in the black community?
I do think that he used clunky language, but what I think he was mainly getting at is that in the last election, 90% of African Americans voted with Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party. If you go back to 2008, 94% of African Americans voted with the Democratic Party. We are a unified political special interest group, and I think that that's not an insult to say. Latinos, on the other hand, when you look at 28% of them went with Donald Trump, and the rest went with Hillary Clinton. So you had more diversity in terms.
Let me get Julio in. Do you agree with Joe Biden?
Hey, listen, first off, I feel bad for Jason and his colleagues. They're going to be doing a lot of spinning for all of the off-color and clunky comments that Joe Biden is going to be making. But no, there is a lot of diversity of thought and a lot of diversity of race. And I have to kind of agree with what Jason said there to a certain extent. But the fact of the matter is that Joe Biden, to be talking about race, the guy that said that he didn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle when the issue of segregation came up, and his checkered past with issues like segregation and busing, this is not a guy that's going to bring the country together racially.
Kelly, I don't have a lot of time, just 30 seconds or so. There seems to be a lot of cleanup on aisle 5 with everyone on the left, almost weekly with what something Joe Biden says.
Well, I would disagree with that. And going back to Kamala Harris, she is not leftist. She is a moderate. And according to a recent poll, the majority of Republicans support her in comparison to Biden. So I think that they're going to win in 2020.
All right, we'll leave it there because Kelly is so good at answering a different question from the one I asked, but she knows I'm just about out of time. Kelly Hyman, Jason Nichols.
Next time.
Thank you guys so much.